All right, so how's it going, folks? So we actually have a lot to cover today, kind of, regarding the Godzilla and Kong New Empire toy line. Just to add a little bit of context here, I actually do have a separate playlist on my channel that you could go through, which basically talks about like some of the releases and of course some of the teasers. Of course, I mean the only reason why I'm mentioning this is because that playlist has a lot more videos than I would have thought. Like, I never would have really thought about making a whole playlist about it because it's basically just talking about some new toy releases and all that. So surprisingly, even after the movie came out a while ago, we're actually still getting a lot of nice stuff. And honestly, like, this toy line is just pretty solid. I mean, it has like a lot of variety. And I'm not just gonna sit here and talk about the battle roars and the giant figures. Nah, that's simple. We're really getting up there, especially with those 24-inch figures, which I could be wrong. I think they cost around like maybe 80 bucks or so. I don't know. That's just from what I saw from the Big Bad Toy Store's website. Although I only really glanced at it, I didn't really look too much into it. So there's that. So we're actually going to be talking about something pretty interesting today. You're probably thinking, right? I'm going to talk about the three new figures. Tiamat, the new version of the Kong with battle axe, and finally we're actually getting a Mothra figure, which is shocking, right? After such a long time. So it's all coming together now, and that's fantastic, right? But no, I'm actually not talking about those figures today. I'm talking about something else. I'm talking about the bucket full of minifigures that was teased not a while back, and it's like, okay, nobody's talking about them. I think they're kind of worth a little bit of a talk. I think it's worth a video because it's literally something that a lot of people just glanced over. Like, nobody's literally talking about it, and I was like, why? And I'm gonna explain why it's a little bit of a big deal, right? So, and worth to add just a little bit more to the story. Obviously, the company making these figures is Playmates Toys, the same company that makes the Ninja Turtles. Pretty much, yeah. I mean, they've made other stuff too, don't get me wrong. I also heard that recently they also got the rights to make Power Ranger figures now, so let's see how that goes, because a lot of people were a little bit uproar about that. But we're not talking about Power Rangers, we're talking about Godzilla, and right. So a while ago, when the Mutant Mayhem movie came out, the Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, they actually did make their own like bucket of minifigures as well. It was about like I think 50 minifigures in one, and it was like $20 or so, and they were mostly showing up at Target, so it was a Target exclusive. So you're probably thinking, wow, $20, right? That's a lot. But even though it's a little bit on the pricey side, one thing you want to kind of sorry, I just finished eating, so I'm like, you know what I mean? So basically, I remember I honestly, as much as I want to buy more of them because it has like a lot of variety to it. So a lot of the figures, they're not just based off of the new movie. They also had a couple of rare little mini figures also based off of the 2012 Ninja Turtles cartoon, which is like, wow, that's surprising, right? Keeping up with that, it's like, like it's like, because that show was pretty cool for the most part. It was a little different. I mean, this is the CGI animated Nickelodeon show, just to kind of remind everyone. And I remember too the minifigures, right? It's like they were pretty rare. Like you wouldn't really find them, honestly, though. Like you could like travel everywhere and you wouldn't really find them. You wouldn't find them at a Walmart or at a Target, not even your local random comic store. So it's interesting to kind of see these make a little bit of a return, and now a little bit more, well, I wouldn't really say open because they're Target exclusive, but you get the idea. So it has that to it, where it includes minifigures that you would think that we would no longer see anymore. And on top of that, the bucket also doubles as a piggy bank. So it's like, oh, okay, that's actually pretty cool. It's like, oh. So the reason why I'm talking about the Godzilla one, it's because I feel like in this situation, it's a lot more complicated than we all might have realized, and I'm going to explain why. So unfortunately, I have to talk about this a little bit, so I won't lean too much in it. Obviously, when the toy line was not first required, but when it was announced that they were making Godzilla vs. Kong toys, obviously this was like 2020. We all know what happened. I don't think I really need to talk about too much. I've heard from some people, if you mention what happened, you might get in trouble from YouTube, but screw it. I'm just gonna say it, all right? Because unfortunately, it's a part of life now. Obviously, there was the COVID pandemic that affected everybody. I mean, it was a dangerously widespread disease. It's no longer around, but it's like it's still pretty common. Like like it flares up from time to time, but it's no longer a threat. Pretty much everyone's gotten used to it and been immune. So it's in the past now. But obviously that affected a lot of things, unfortunately, and of course toy collecting was one of them. And of course the not just with shipping and all that, but when it came to like trying to find most of these action figures, they were like no, like they were pretty hard to find, and it was not fun. Like I wouldn't be surprised if people just gave up toy hunting in general because it got that bad. It was that it got that low. And the minifigures were not helping because yes, they also they had their own set of minifigures. I can't remember too much from the top of my head. I know we had you got Godzilla, you got Kong. They did a Skullcrawler, a Warbat, a Hellhawk. Yeah, a Hellhawk pretty much. Yeah, I think that was also part of it. But for some odd reason, they were made exclusive outside of the US. So if you lived here, you couldn't really buy them, right? So it's like, what the heck? Why would you make these and then they're not available everywhere? So it's like, it's so weird, And obviously that goes for a lot of stuff. Like definitely, I want to talk more about that, but I just want to stay focused on the minifigures and the bucket whatever. And the reason why I'm mentioning that, it's because obviously from time to time, they're still doing it. Even for the new movie, we did get a whole set of like minifigures and all that. And there's no word as to if they're only like outside of the US and all that. It pretty much seems like that they're much more open, for more people to get now, if that makes sense. I think now you can pretty much acquire these figures, but it's the same thing though. Surprisingly, I've been able to actually get ahead of the toy line, and I've pretty much like almost collected all the figures except for the new ones that are coming out, obviously, because these are new releases. So obviously I don't have the mega figures yet. I don't have the new giant Shimu yet, but obviously we're getting there. The reason why I'm saying this is because pretty much a lot of these figures are now easier to get because now they're more open. They are no longer just exclusive to one place. So you would think that the minifigures would be easy to find, right? Now, I can't really say exactly what minifigures we're talking about because apparently there's actually two different versions of them. So I guess there's the ones that you get in like those crystals, whatever, that are like I think Walmart exclusive. I'm not too sure if they are, but I've seen them mostly in Walmart. Or I know that it was discovered that they were actually like, I don't know if they were slightly bigger or slightly smaller. Honestly, I'm not too sure. And I don't think they're the same ones that Five Below had, where those were like slightly bigger, but they actually had articulation. So the only one I have is just this Godzilla. They only did Godzilla, Kong, and Mecha Godzilla around this time, so I'm not really too sure. I highly doubt you're gonna get these in the mini bucket. I'm pretty sure it's just this. So of course that begs the question. It's like, well, what's the point of like buying the little crystals if you could just get a whole bunch of these with the mini bucket? So it's like a mystery, right? But there's a catch. How do we know if those minifigures from before that we weren't able to get, now we're actually going to get them in this mini bucket? So it's like, okay, it kind of adds on. So it's like, damn, now it's actually worth getting. And I'm hoping it's not like a weird crazy price, obviously. You never know. I think it's cool that we're getting this. It adds a lot more to the toy line because it's so varied, honestly. Like even I was trying to like I was on the Wikizilla website and I was trying to count how many figures they made. So not counting the minifigures, they made about, I believe, 56 figures already, and of course that is counting the new ones like the giant, I mean not the giant, the mega figures, even the giant 24-inch. Yeah, of course I count those because those are more accessible and easier to find, unlike the minifigures. So obviously not counting those, this toy line is pretty big, and we're counting the entire thing. We're counting both Godzilla vs. Kong, Monsterverse, and Godzilla X Kong because obviously it's all supposed to be based on the same format. Action figures. They got their own little doohickeys. I actually reviewed this, so yeah, you get the idea. So I think, this shouldn't be ignored. I think we should definitely, take a much more closer look into it, and I will definitely, of course, maybe give them a review if I could, because I've had some people ask me like, hey Josh, are you gonna do Ultraman figure reviews again? And of course definitely I will, but what happened to me was that I had some problems going on and I was like, uh-oh, mostly personal stuff, so I got a little behind. But now that we're back on track to making more toy reviews and stuff like that, hey, I'll definitely cover more, and it's good to be back. So that's about it today. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the mini bucket and the weird history behind the minifigures. Of course, just to kind of talk a little bit about them. So of course, so far in this toy line, there's about four of them. So there's Evolved Godzilla, Kong with Beast Glove, Scar King, and Shimu. So, and of course, that's not even counting the other ones that are like individually packed and all that, all those weird little ones that were appearing online, but you don't see them in stores. So who knows? What more do you guys think is gonna happen? Because it definitely seems like there's gonna be a lot more than we thought. So hey, until then, hope you guys stay safe out there as always, and leave a like and subscribe, and that's about it. See ya.